Many people desire transformation. Many people say, I want to live with purpose. I want to become strong. I want to have peace. But very few begin where it truly matters, at the start of their day. If the beginning is not in order, how can the rest flow in harmony? You see, life is not built in grand moments. It is not built in awards, in recognition, or in those few days that are captured on camera. No, life is built in the quiet moments. It is constructed in the early hours when no one is watching, when the world is silent, when you and only you decide, how shall I show up today? The way you begin your morning is not just a routine, it is not just habit, it is declaration. It is a message you send to yourself and to the universe that says, I am ready, I am disciplined, I am not a victim of the day, I am its master. So I ask you, how do you start your morning? Do you open your eyes with gratitude, or do you open them already carrying the weight of yesterday's worries? Do you pick up your phone and scroll through the chaos of the world before even greeting your own soul? Or do you rise with intention, in silence, in breath, in presence? In the Shaolin temple, our day begins before the sun rises. Before the light touches the earth, we are already in movement, in stillness, in awareness. Why? Because to wait for life to happen is to always be reacting. But to rise before life begins, that is the way of the mindful warrior. And this is what I tell those who come to me. You do not need to live in a temple to live with discipline. You do not need to wear robes to practice presence. What you need is choice. What you need is awareness. And what you need every single day is to remember that your morning is your foundation. If the foundation is weak, the structure cannot hold. A strong morning contains 3 elements: stillness, intention, and preparation. Stillness is the moment before movement. It is the moment when you check in, not with the world, but with yourself. How is your breath? Is your mind racing? Is your heart heavy? In stillness, you listen not to your thoughts, but to the space behind them. This is where wisdom lives. Next is intention. Ask yourself, why am I awake? Most people wake up because the alarm tells them to, because the world demands it, because they have things to do. But a disciplined person wakes with a purpose, not always a grand one, but a clear one. The moment you wake up, perhaps your intention is simply, today I will move with calm, or today I will respond, not react, or today I will not betray my inner peace for temporary distractions. Intention is like the rudder of a boat. Without it, you are simply drifting. And finally, preparation. To prepare your mind, your body, and your environment. This does not require hours. It requires awareness. Stretch your body to remind it that it is alive. Hydrate to signal that you honor this vessel. Sit in silence to hear the inner dialogue. Make your space clean and clear so the outer reflects the inner. These are not rules, these are disciplines. And discipline is not restriction. Discipline is freedom. I tell you this because many women, many people, they underestimate the power of small actions. They think power is loud, that transformation is fast. But the way of mastery is subtle, it is slow, it is gentle, but unwavering. To own your morning does not mean you wake up at 4 a.m. every day and do 2 hours of training. It simply means that you do not hand over the first hour of your life to the world, because once you do, it owns you. Your phone will tell you who to compare yourself to. Your email will tell you who needs your attention. The noise will tell you what you lack. But in silence, in solitude, you remember, I am enough. You remember, this is my life, my breath, my path. And so begin with what you can do. 1 breath, 1 glass of water, 1 note of gratitude, 1 stretch, 1 still moment. From that moment, the rest of your day changes. And if your day changes, your life will change. Because your life is just many days stacked upon each other. And what happens when you build your days with discipline, with awareness, with purpose, you become unstoppable. Now we move to the next. There is a principle we teach in the Shaolin tradition. Your body is your temple, but it is also your sword. You must care for it, but also sharpen it. You must honor it, but also train it. Too many people are disconnected from their body. They live in their minds, in thoughts, in future and past, but they forget the only place you can take action is in the body, in the now. And so I say this very clearly. If you want to live with power, you must treat your body with the respect it deserves. This means move it daily, feed it wisely, rest it consciously, hydrate it with love. Your body is not just flesh and bone. It is memory, it is emotion, it is intuition. If you want to hear your truth, listen to your body. Every ache tells a story. Every fatigue carries a message. Every heartbeat is a reminder you are alive. So I ask again, how do you treat this sacred instrument? Do you skip meals in the name of busyness? Do you punish your body with diets and overtraining? Do you ignore its cries because you think rest is weakness? No. True strength is to listen. True discipline is not punishment, it is harmony. To fuel your body is to fuel your fire. And a woman with fire is unstoppable. When you feed your body, ask, is this nourishing me or numbing me? When you move your body, ask, am I connecting or punishing? When you rest, ask, am I escaping or recovering? This type of questioning, this type of awareness is the difference between surviving and thriving. Let me tell you a story. There was once a woman who came to the temple for training. She was exhausted, burnt out, successful in the eyes of the world, but completely disconnected from herself. She wanted to learn strength, she wanted to become disciplined, but she did not yet understand that before you train your mind, you must re-enter your body. And so we began not with kung fu, not with movement, but with stillness, with breath work, with walking meditation, with long periods of silence, where she could feel again, not think, not analyze, just feel. And slowly she began to notice how her shoulders were always tense, how her breath was always shallow, how her stomach never felt light. And through awareness, change began. Her posture shifted, her tone softened, her eyes became bright again. And that's when she said something I never forgot. She said, for the first time in years, I feel like I'm home in myself. That is the power of returning to the body. Your body is your truth. And when it is healthy, when it is strong, when it is aligned, everything else becomes clearer. So what are the habits? They are simple. Drink water first thing in the morning. Not coffee, not tea, water. Because every cell in your body is calling for it. Stretch, even for 5 minutes, especially if you are tired. Movement is not always about energy, it is about connection. Eat whole foods, not perfectly, not obsessively, but respectfully. Choose what your grandmother would recognize as food. Honor the earth, respect the process, breathe deeply throughout the day, especially when tension arises. The breath is your anchor. It reminds you that you are not your stress. Move daily. It could be walking, dancing, martial arts, strength training. What matters is not the form, but the consistency. Movement is medicine. And rest, not just sleep, but restoration. Put the phone away, light a candle, listen to music that calms your soul. Create space for your nervous system to feel safe again. These are not luxury habits. They are not reserved for those with more time. These are foundational disciplines for every woman who wants to lead, not from burnout, but from balance. Because when your body is in alignment, your intuition awakens, your strength multiplies, your presence deepens, and the world will feel it before you even speak. Do not wait for illness to prioritize your health. Do not wait for breakdown to honor your needs. Begin today. One habit, one act of nourishment, one moment of movement. And remember, you are not training to look a certain way. You are training to feel a certain way, to become a certain way, calm, clear, grounded, alive. This is the way of the mindful warrior. This is the way of the awakened woman. And it all begins with honoring the body. When we speak about power, we often associate it with physical strength, social status, or the ability to control outcomes. But today I want to speak about a deeper power, a quieter one. The kind of power that originates not in the body, but in the mind. More precisely, in the words that the mind chooses to believe. Before a warrior lifts a sword, she must first defeat the enemy in her thoughts. Before a woman rises to take her place in the world, she must first rise in the temple of her own self-worth. And this is why we begin here with speech. Not outward speech alone, but the speech that begins within. You see, every morning when you wake up, you are not only waking your body, you are also waking your inner world. And in that world, thoughts begin to stir. Some of those thoughts are gentle, empowering, kind, like a soft breeze on the surface of a calm lake, but others are not. Some rise up like smoke from old fire. Doubts, fears, the voices of yesterday, the voice of comparison, the echo of criticism from a world that never truly knew your heart. This is why it is not enough to simply wake up physically. You must wake up intentionally. You must become conscious of the dialogue within, because if you do not choose the language that governs your mind, someone else will choose it for you. Society, with all its expectations, family, with all its projections, the media, with its images of who you should be, how you should look, and what success must mean. But tell me this, how can someone outside of you define who you are inside? They cannot. And yet, every day, countless people surrender their inner space to outer voices. So the question is, what language will you allow to shape your identity? Let me take you to a principle from the Shaolin tradition. We call it Shin, the heart mind. It is the inner ruler of your being. What the heart believes, the body follows. What the mind accepts, the spirit enacts. Therefore, if you speak weakness to yourself, you walk in hesitation. If you speak power, you walk in conviction. But let us be careful. Power is not arrogance. It is not volume. Power is clarity. Power is alignment between your speech and your values, between who you say you are and who you choose to become. So what can you do? Begin each day, not with noise, but with awareness. Before the world has a chance to interfere, give yourself 5 minutes of truth. 5 minutes to realign with the path you have chosen. Sit down, breathe in deeply, and then say, not out of routine, but from the depth of sincerity, I am enough. I am walking my path. I am aligned with my purpose. This is not about ego, it is about remembrance. Because the truth is, this world will always try to make you forget. It will try to make you forget that your worth is not tied to productivity, that your beauty is not tied to comparison, that your voice is not only valid, it is needed. When I was training in silence for days, sometimes weeks at a time, I learned something vital. Without external distractions, the internal dialogue becomes louder. Personal distractions, the loudest ones, sometimes are the only ones which we want to forget. So, because we have to listen to internal dialogue becomes louder, and at first this can be frightening, because the first voices that arise are often not kind. You will hear the critic, the cynic, the doubter, but you must not run. Sit with them, see them, and then choose differently. You are not the voice of doubt. You are the awareness that hears it. You are not the story of your past. You are the pen that writes the next line. And that pen is your speech. So when I say to speak power into yourself, I do not mean to pretend. I do not mean to repeat empty affirmations with no belief. I mean to build belief through repetition, to build belief through consistency, to build belief like a monk builds strength, through simple, daily, intentional practice. Each day, remind yourself, I do not chase what belongs to me. I attract it by becoming aligned with it. I do not fear failure because I learn from movement. I am not lost, I am evolving. These are not fantasies, these are anchors. Anchors that hold you steady when the winds of life grow strong. The mind is very much like water. Pour negativity into it and it will reflect fear. Pour truth into it and it will reflect strength. And the most powerful truth a woman can speak to herself is this: I belong. I belong to this moment. I belong to my vision. I belong to the journey I have chosen. Many women I have spoken with over the years, warriors in their own right, tell me I struggle with self-worth, or I always feel like I am not enough. And I tell them, Who taught you that story? Because that belief did not originate from within. It was passed down, maybe by culture, maybe by an unhealed parent, maybe by a world that profits off of your insecurity. But just as the belief was learned, it can be unlearned. And this unlearning begins not with grand gestures, but with simple statements, daily reminders, daily conversations with yourself. Not to impress the world, but to impress truth upon your mind. Just like you train your muscles, you must train your speech. Be disciplined with the words you allow to linger in your inner space, because every thought you entertain is a seed, and every day you are watering either fear or faith. So ask yourself, what am I growing? If you are growing fear, stop feeding it. Cut off its supply. Refuse to rehearse your failures. Refuse to magnify your insecurities. Instead, begin rehearsing strength. Begin magnifying your virtues. Do not say, I hope I am strong enough. Say, I am learning to walk in strength. You see, it is not about perfection. It is about progression. And the moment your language reflects your path, you become unstoppable. Some may say, but I do not feel powerful. I say, speak until you remember. Your words are a compass. They will point you back to your center. And your center is not broken. Your center is not lacking. Your center is whole. You have only forgotten how to return. And the way back is through language. Conscious, empowering. If you knew how powerful your words are, you would never again speak against yourself, even in jest. So speak carefully. Speak like a warrior. Speak like a woman who honors her path. And when you speak of yourself, let your words rise from a place of reverence. Because if you do not honor your journey, why should anyone else? This is why monks begin each day in silence. Not because there is nothing to say, but because they are listening. Listening for the truth beneath the noise. You must do the same. Before you speak to the world, listen to the stillness within. Ask it, what is true? What is needed? What must I remember? And then speak from that place, not for validation, but for alignment. And if ever you forget who you are, return to the breath, return to the silence, and return to your words. Say them gently at first if needed, but say them anyway. I am not behind, I am not broken, I am not small, I am becoming, I am healing, I am whole. The more you say it, the more your nervous system believes it, the more you embody it, and slowly you begin to walk differently, think differently, decide differently. This is the ripple effect of daily conscious speech, a quiet revolution of identity. So, don't wait for someone else to remind you who you are. Become the reminder. Make it your practice. Make it your habit. Speak power into yourself. Not just once, but every single day. Every day we are presented with choices. What to focus on, what to ignore, who to listen to, and who to walk away from. And whether we realize it or not, the energy we allow into our space becomes the energy we carry within. This is why I say to you, protect your peace, not passively, not occasionally, but fiercely, with clarity and without guilt. In life, there is external noise and there is internal noise. Most people confuse the two. They think peace is the absence of chaos outside, but the deeper truth is peace is of the mastery of stillness inside, regardless of what storms may rage beyond. You can't always control the world, but you can control how much of it you invite into your mind, into your heart, into your temple. A question I often ask my students is this: if you had a priceless sculpture, would you leave it out in the street for anyone to touch, to stain, to damage? Of course not. You would place it in a temple, a space of reverence, a place where only those with understanding and respect are allowed to enter. And yet, many people do not treat their inner world with the same respect. They leave their minds open to negativity, comparison, gossip, digital distractions. They let anyone enter with their opinions, their judgments, their chaos. You must learn to guard your peace like royalty guards a sacred crown. To protect your peace, you must first know what disturbs it. What drains you, what triggers frustration, anxiety, self-doubt. These are not random feelings. They are signals. The body does not lie. The mind may justify toxic people or harmful habits, but the body knows. It tightens. It grows restless. It sends you signs. A woman who wants to rise must not only listen to others, she must learn to listen to herself deeply and daily. One of the greatest misconceptions is that love, compassion, or spirituality means saying yes to everything, being open to everyone. But this is not true wisdom. A river flows best when its banks are clear. A forest thrives when its boundaries are protected. You do not need to be everything for everyone. You need to be everything for yourself first. From this place of wholeness you can give, but when you give from depletion, it is not a gift. It is a sacrifice. And peace is not something you find in sacrifice. It is something you maintain through balance. Say no, not with anger, but with awareness. Say no, not because you are hard-hearted, but because you are soft-hearted and you wish to protect that softness from being eroded. There are some invitations that are not for you, some conversations that are not worthy of your time, some environments that do not align with your energy. Why do we feel guilt for walking away from what does not nourish us? Why do we hesitate to choose solitude over shallow company? You must learn that peace is not found in noise, it is found in alignment. Let us consider stillness, the kind of stillness that a mountain possesses. The kind of silence that a temple holds. Not emptiness, but depth. Not absence, but presence. When you protect your peace, you are creating that kind of sanctuary within yourself. You are cultivating an inner place that is untouched by drama, by trends, by the endless chase for validation. In the Shaolin tradition, we say that discipline is freedom. And I will say now, boundaries are peace. If you wake up in the morning and immediately absorb the world's opinions through your phone, through other people's needs, you have already surrendered your inner kingdom. But if you wake, breathe, and enter the day with intention, you are commanding your state. You are choosing clarity over confusion. Many people seek peace as if it were something to acquire, but it is not something you find. It is something you return to. Like water settling in a glass once the stirring stops. That is your natural state. But if you keep letting others stir your waters, you will never taste stillness. You are not obligated to entertain every comment. You are not required to absorb every opinion. Silence is not weakness, it is a form of strength. You do not need to clap back. You do not need to explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. There is a power in stepping away, in choosing the high path, in protecting your light. Imagine a candle in a storm. The flame is not kept alive by more wind. It is kept alive by shielding, by turning away from what could extinguish it. This is how you must treat your peace. Shield it from chaos. Protect it from unnecessary conversations. Guard it from distractions that seek to pull you into their fire. You do not need to live in defense. You only need to live in awareness. Be aware of what you allow. Be aware of what you tolerate. And understand that tolerance is not always a virtue. Sometimes it is a silent agreement to be diminished. A woman who walks in peace does not tolerate what betrays her soul. This is not about being distant or arrogant. It is about being clear. Clarity brings peace. When you are clear on your values, you won't be easily swayed. When you are clear on your time, you won't give it away to what is meaningless. When you are clear on your energy, you'll stop letting people treat you like a reservoir for their problem. What happens when a lake is polluted constantly without any protection? Eventually, it turns murky. It no longer reflects the sky. It loses its beauty. But when that same lake is protected, cared for, its waters become clear. And in that clarity, everything is reflected. Sky, stars, stillness. You are the lake. You are the guardian. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. It is choosing not to argue, not because you're afraid to speak, but because you understand that your energy is better invested elsewhere. It is choosing to walk away, not in defeat, but in wisdom. It is saying, I value my spirit too much to give it away recklessly. If you want to walk in peace, you must first recognize the difference between urgent and important. The world will always offer urgency, notifications, demands, attention-seeking, noise. Nothing matters. So we all have to choose urgent from urgency. Urgencies are not the same as decisions. Decisions are made and then decisions are made. So we all have to choose urgent from urgent. Urgency is not the same as decisions. The world will always offer urgency, notifications, disasters, urgency. Goodness knows what will happen. But all day, if you keep this, but peace lives in the important, the deep, the silent, the centered. Do not confuse movement for progress. Do not confuse attention for alignment. Spend time alone, not because you are hiding, but because you are grounding. Listen not just to podcasts, to others, but to your own breath, your own thoughts. Sit in nature and let her teach you that growth does not require noise, that beauty does not beg to be seen, that peace is a teacher more powerful than any book. When you protect your peace, you elevate your life. You begin to walk differently. You speak with intention. You breathe more fully. You stop rushing. You start feeling. And in that presence, you become magnetic, not because you're trying, but because peace is always attractive to those still caught in chaos. Others may not understand your boundaries. That is not your burden. People often judge what they cannot control. Let them. Your responsibility is not to be understood by everyone. It is to be in harmony with yourself. And when you are, you become a tuning fork. Others may feel your presence and begin to rise too. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you constantly allow your peace to be disturbed, if you constantly run to every fire, if you always say yes out of fear, then the world learns that your temple is always open, even to destruction. But when you begin to choose differently, with calm, with conviction, the world adjusts. The energy around you shifts. When you master protecting your peace, you walk into rooms differently. You're not seeking approval because you've already approved of yourself. You're not trying to belong because you've already found a home within. You're not trying to prove your worth because you're walking in it. This practice is daily. Just like a warrior trains the body, you must train the mind. Every morning, ask, what is mine to carry today and what is not? Every evening, reflect, did I honor my boundaries? Did I protect my peace? You don't need perfection, you only need consistency. Be intentional with what you read, what you watch, who you engage with. All of these things plant seeds in your mind, and what you water will grow. If you water peace, clarity, kindness, they will grow. If you water fear, drama, and doubt, they will take root. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you are becoming. And the woman who protects her peace is not running from the world. She is simply choosing what kind of world she wants to live in, starting within. She understands that the world outside is a reflection of the world within. So if she desires peace, she must become it. If she desires clarity, she must embody it. If she desires strength, she must cultivate it. Silently, consistently, deliberately. When you walk with this kind of presence, you are no longer swayed by storms. You become the calm in the storm. And in this way, your peace does not only serve you, it becomes a light for others, a reminder that it is possible to live deeply, truly, and freely, even in a chaotic world.